Welcome once again to Porchtalk Podcast. I'm your host, Samuel Dank, along with my co-host,
Jared Hall.
Coming to you live to tape from Nebraska, 1866. This is, what day is it? This Thursday? It's Thursday.
Yeah, this is Thursday.
This is Thursday. I don't know.
This
I don't pay any
is
attention.
Thursday, May 26th.
May 26th. All right. In the morning to all you listeners out there. Shout out, as always, to Agenda 31, No Agenda, and Jennifer Briney. Specifically Jennifer Briney because Jared and I are floating an idea.
Not floating.
Not floating. We're doing it. Yeah.
Yeah. There's already a website out there. So.
Coming soon. We're gonna do. This is Porch Talk. You know what it is. If you've listened, if you haven't, just listen. You'll figure it out real quick. But I want to plug this idea, not just so that you listeners can be informed about this, but also maybe we can crowdsource some things. What Jared and I really want to do is start a blog/podcast. It was originally a podcast idea, and I thought we could put more information on a blog. Not sure what the format's going to be yet. Is it going to be weekly, monthly?
What is it, though?
Oh, right. I should probably tell them what it is. We live in Nebraska, and we wish to be informed citizens. Of our state, as in the state of Nebraska. So, in an effort to do that, I think we should have an easily accessible way of understanding the legislation that comes before the Unicam. The bills that come up and the bills that are passed. Not just reading the bills. Actually, Jared and I will sit down and read the bills, but also researching the laws and statutes that correspond with those bills. And also, and I think this might be even as important, looking at who lobbies, who's funding campaign, who's donating to campaigns. That's the small, specific area of focus, the unicameral. We're going to call it...
For those of you who do not know,
Nebraska
is a one-house chambered legislature, so we are simply known as the unicameral.
Right.
We don't have a Senate and a House, like whatever I guess other states have. We used to have a House, and we used to have a Senate. Now it's just the unicameral.
Right.
That is strictly the Senate.
Mm. So we're calling it Unicam Dish. That's the working title.
Which is a shout out specifically to Congressional Dish that is done by Jennifer Briney.
And the inspiration for Unicam Dish actually specifically comes from last week's episode of Congressional Dish, where she talked about a friend of hers doing Congressional Dish on a state level for North Carolina, I believe it was. And I thought, man, this is a great idea.
Jared already reads bills.
Jared does all this crap anyways.
His legislature and they know him.
Yeah, like
somebody knows him.
Mm-hmm. They're annoyed by him. So we thought, well, might as well do more with the annoyance. On a related note, and I think what is the impetus, the philosophical impetus behind this is, I've been thinking about the presidential race.
All right.
Most of us have, right?
Yeah.
And I've been over and over keep coming to this thought, and I think a lot of us who think skeptically about politics realize this to some extent, but it keeps coming up in my mind. I keep thinking, this really is a dog and pony show. This is kabuki theater. This is all of those bullshit terms that you want to use. And what is actually more important to my day-to-day life is politics and government on a local level.
Well, we already know that the president doesn't really mean anything. He's a figurehead. And in theory, Congress should be the ones controlling everything.
Including
I mean, they
who we go to war with.
Who they go to war with.
So there's that.
The House is the money purse.
Yeah.
Going with my Agenda 31 thought with my state is much more important than what happens on a national level, in my opinion.
Right. That's
for the
that's my
everyday
point.
citizen.
Yes.
Or resident.
Then we should start acting like that. No, that's not a criticism of you, Jared. I need to start acting like that. My wife and I were chatting, and she goes, "You know, Sam, she's lived here for, 7 years now, I think." And she's like, "I don't even know who the mayor is." And I went, "Holy crap,
Oh.
I don't either."
You don't know who the mayor is?
It used to be Beitler, didn't it?
It is Beitler.
It is Beitler, okay. See? You know,
Do you know who our governor is?
Prickets.
Yes.
I do know him because he's made some. And Ben Sass has made some national news too.
Everybody by now knows who Ben
Pants.
Sass is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Then there's who's our attorney general? He's a dick.
Doug Peterson.
Oh no, that's not him. Who am I thinking of?
It is.
Yeah, Doug Peterson. But who's the
attorney general before that?
Is that the guy that was
Bruning?
Bruning, yeah.
Okay, Sam. So let me ask you this: Do you know who our two senators are? Our two U.S. senators?
Fortenberry and the other one that's not in my district.
No.
The one I don't vote for.
Okay, no. No.
See?
Because
this is why we need this shit, people.
Your senators represent your entire state.
Oh, they're not representatives of the district.
No. So we have two senators. We have Deb Fisher.
Oh, okay.
Who's a rancher from Valentine.
Mm-hmm.
And we have Ben Sass, who was a former president of Midland University in Fremont.
Okay.
We have three congressmen in the House.
And our representative for Congress
is Jeff Fortenberry.
For the House is
for the House. Okay.
Fortenberry. Gotcha.
And that's District 2.
2. Yeah, I do know that.
District 1 is Brad Ashford, which is most of Omaha.
Mm-hmm.
And then District 3, which is the rest of Nebraska, is Adrian Smith.
Okay. Interesting. So, before we go too far into the rabbit hole there with who these people are, let's pause that, save that for our opening episode of Unicam Dish. Kind of get the idea, folks. How I was thinking we could crowdsource is there a bill that you're concerned about? Is there something you're interested in?
Here's the downside. We're starting this now, Sam. Mm-hmm. Is that our unicameral is out of session at the moment.
Mm.
But how this will work? Well, then we only have 49 senators, 49 state senators. I think 11 are term limited out. So that's 11 freshman senators that you're going to get
this November. Yeah.
Not to mention, I think there's 23 more that are up for re-election.
Mm-hmm.
So it's either 23 total or 23 more plus the 11.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, there's a lot of senators. So if you have no idea who to vote for in your district, or you want more information on who may be running or who the incumbent is, let us know, and we will do some research on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you've listened to Porchtalk, you know that Jared and I are kind of all over the map politically and socially. I'm very much a fan of representing who a person is when talking about them, following the money, following the evidence.
And you'll know that
we're not following the parties.
Yeah, and you know that I like to hold my government accountable.
Exactly, which we all should be doing, right?
Yeah. And for me, a lot of that is actually corresponding with the government, usually through 3-cent letters. But it also means I spend a lot of time reading our state's constitution and our commercial codes and the the Nebraska laws.
Mm-hmm.
I do that. That's one of my pastimes. I have a whole folder that has like 9 different websites on it on my phone of strictly, and it's labeled Nebraska. So, yeah. And let's not forget, your wife thinks I should be a lawyer because of this.
Yes. And if anybody else thinks Jared should be a lawyer, send him an email.
At jfrederichall@gmail.com.
Or tweet him.
Or tweet me at j_Frederick_Hall. Better yet, send us cash.
Yeah, just send your cash. And I quote, George W.
Yeah.
Fronting for the Clinton Foundation.
Anyways, so the new endeavor that we may be taking is going to be Unicam Dish.
Yeah.
It will not take away from this so far 4-episode podcast of Porchtalk. But yeah.
Yeah, because this is, you know what this is. This is kibitzing. This is we're having a conversation.
This literally is what we do.
We're having a conversation. That is going to be actual work. I want it to be much more professional. But it's still going to be made by me and Jared, so, you're going to have our snark, too.
And if anybody wants to, fund us on that endeavor the way that Jennifer Briney is funded, that would be fantastic.
Oh, this is absolute. Right now, I'm going to say this. This will always be a value for value proposition. We are not going to be advertising at all. Just not.
No.
Then there will be no paywall either,
No.
because we want this information out there.
The only paywall that would be there would be eventually getting this off of YouTube. Somehow getting the $80 a month, or no, a year rather, to have our blog
an actual website
host
Yeah.
audio files.
Well, I don't want it. That's the paywalls for us, not for you guys.
Yeah, so give us some money so we can fix our shit up and look a little bit better.
Yeah, it would be nice. It would be nice. But the work comes first, so if you guys like the product that we're going to start producing, support it. On to bigger and better things. I watched Captain America Civil War.
Oh. Okay.
About face. Dude,
I have not seen it, so
okay, it's okay. It's worth seeing. So I'm not there. There will be no
that I have no idea what we're talking about.
There will be no spoilers.
Spoilers. Spoilers are fine.
Spoilers are fine. Jared doesn't. I don't like spoilers.
The only time I don't like spoilers is if it's Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
Hey.
Spoilers.
Guess what? No.
What, the Doctor is that? There's a 14th Doctor now?
Oh my God. So
that was a funny joke.
So I really liked Captain America Civil War, but because I watch everything critically, not from a movie critic standpoint, but from a propaganda standpoint, from how does this relate to religion? How does this relate to philosophy? That's just how I approach things.
What was the movie I'd watched? Sorry for this.
No, this is what we do.
What was the... That spy. Was it The Bourne? No, it wasn't Bourne. Right?
Oh, the one with the Russian shit?
Yeah.
It
wasn't Bourne.
No, it wasn't a Bourne movie. It was the other guy, the Clancy character. It had Chris Pine in it, who was supposed to take over the mantle of Jack Ryan. It was a Jack Ryan film, wasn't it?
Ryan. What was that one called? Jack Ryan what?
Shadow Conspiracy Fart Bad Guys. It had one of those titles that was completely absurd.
Okay, well, remember...
And totally unmemorable.
Shadow Recruit.
Shadow Recruit. Hey, I got Shadow, right?
Here we are. So I remember watching that movie, and I remember pausing and being like, what the fuck did I just watch? And trying to convince you to watch it. I don't know if you did.
No, I never did.
17 minutes into the movie, this guy who works, was he CIA or...
I don't know.
He was an analyst.
Yeah.
It's only an analyst.
Yeah.
And somehow he got dragged into something. But they do this clip where apparently they're going to a meeting at the UN and they're in the hallway. These two US officials are talking, and one guy looks at him and goes, "Okay, all we really need to know is that if we get oil below $79 a barrel, we'll tank Russia." And I'm like, okay, this movie was It was released in 2014.
Okay.
Which means it was filmed in like 2012 or 2013.
Mm-hmm.
Which means foreshadowing for what was going on at the time.
Right.
With the sanctions on Russia and realizing that people saying if we can get oil to a certain point, we'll take Russia's economy. Like,
right.
What the fuck
right.
is that?
Which we did
this
before.
is Tom Clancy. He's got that one book.
Oh my
that
god.
I don't remember what it's called right now. But it talks about there's an Ebola virus strain.
Is it Ebola? Is it actually Ebola?
Yeah, it's an Ebola virus released or something.
Uh-huh.
These two Arab countries get together after an overthrow of another Arab country. Or Middle Eastern country, I guess. Just not Arabs. Because Iran was one of them, therefore the Persian.
Thank you.
But, they formed this Islamic...
Caliphate.
Yeah, I mean, they formed an Islamic State. It's almost called Islamic State or something like that. And a Chinese jetliner gets shot down. And like, what the fuck is that? Because again, foreshadowing.
I tried to look it up. I couldn't find it.
Oh, well, here, I'll find it. It's gonna be really easy to find.
Yeah, I did like Tom Clancy Prophet.
Tom Clancy there.
And it was...
I've never read a Tom Clancy book.
I don't think I have either. Read some Dan Brown.
Yeah.
That's about
I
as
have
close
some
as I've
Dan Brown
gotten.
books.
Like, actually, his... they were okay, but I really liked his... there was a Code Breaker Dan Brown book that I enjoyed quite a bit. It was not a religious book. Or it didn't have religious themes, I should say. And that was very enjoyable. So, I watched Civil War, and it was really fascinating because it pits two sides of an argument that Jared and I sometimes have.
Uh-oh.
And that is autonomy and freedom versus oversight regulation.
Oh.
Basically, the Avengers need to be regulated because they're causing a lot of damage and destruction and death and chaos in the act of saving the world numerous times. And they don't have any accountability. That's from Iron Man's perspective.
Okay.
Iron Man and specifically the UN. So the UN, of course, passes some council, passes some resolution, 100 and some countries sign on to it to regulate the Avengers. Captain America
Mm-hmm.
is like, no. Governments have agendas. Even a union of governments like the United Nations has an agenda. What if something bad happens and they won't let us go? What if they send us to topple a government that they don't like for ulterior motives? And I loved the interplay between these characters over this dilemma, because it starts out with Iron Man becoming aware that they need regulation, if emotionally. It was an emotional appeal because the Avengers had killed some poor kid.
Okay.
And the mom came to Iron Man and basically cussed him out and blah, 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 blah. And Iron Man got all crisis of conscience. And it was fascinating because I think we do that. The appeal for the nanny state, the appeal for a government to keep us safe is an emotional appeal. It's an emotional appeal. I'm scared. I'm scared for my children, so I'm going to put microchips in them, and have them connected to a web or something. You know what I mean? There
was an article.
Yeah, that was just
on microchipping children.
It's starting to get pushed again.
Oh, okay.
Should be interesting.
Yeah. Oh my God! Please think of the children.
But I really liked the meta perspective, because it was sort of like Captain America was the guy that was saying, no, fuck you, we're gonna go it alone, we're gonna be America. But then if you looked actually deeper, that's not what Captain America was saying. He was speaking from a point of nobility, a point of honor, that the framers of our nation assumed was there. It's predicated on honor. It's predicated on... So, do you get what I'm saying? It's predicated on an informed citizenry. It's predicated on us calling out a douchebag and saying, no, you can't do that. And if that doesn't happen, if we allow shit to happen in our own midst, I'm not talking about in a foreign country, in our own midst, then yeah, I can see the emotional appeal for some sort of regulative oversight. And again, it gets back to that, what our first Porch Talk was about, that struggle between freedom and morality. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I loved it. I thought it was excellent. And also Spider-Man. Come on, Spider-Man. It was great. Spider-Man, and he's a teenager, and it was just awesome. And I completely geeked out.
So are you geeking out or trying to have a Porch Talk now?
But this is Porch Talk. It's all the same. Anyways, I really liked it.
I don't really know how to go forward with this other than I don't. Like, I'm completely ill prepared for this, which is great. This is usually how our best conversations are.
Right.
But I haven't watched the movie, so I can't really like add anything to it other than bitch and moan about what happens when the government does what they're not supposed to do and has been doing what they're not supposed to do for such a long time because people stop caring about it.
Right. Yeah. Well, that brings us back to why we want to do
Well, what happens if government...
the Unicam dish, right? I mean,
yeah,
let's start caring about what our government is doing.
So what happens if government... I don't hate to say it at all. I don't. I don't want to sit here and go back to Abraham Lincoln and say that like he totally took advantage of, the war between the states. Because I don't think he did. I think he was literally... I think he literally felt like he was trying to preserve the Union.
Yeah.
Some of the laws and the amendments that came out of this, problematic. Like the 14th Amendment, right? Great if you were a former slave.
Yeah.
And you were left stateless via the 13th Amendment. Okay.
And you have no protections.
And you have no protections because the states can do whatever they want to you. Because you're not a citizen of those states.
Yeah.
You're stateless. So the 14th Amendment granted you citizenship.
Right.
Of the United States.
And protected you.
And protected you from the states.
Right.
But when you look at that and go, well, that didn't give you any protection from the federal government.
That was supposed to already be there in the Fourth Amendment.
Yes, that was already supposed to be there.
If you're a state citizen.
Yes. So, without getting too much into that, if you really want to get into that, please check out Agenda 31.
Right.
But, so you come to FDR. And so we have huge Great Depression, and FDR comes along.
Right.
And his way of getting us out of the Depression is a typical Democratic method, which is spend more money.
Back then it was progressive, but yeah.
Yeah, spend money on government programs, and you do that enough, and you'll get lifted out.
Yeah.
People do forget World War II.
Kind of
what saved us.
But it was a government program, though.
World War II.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I mean, that's the military-industrial complex, right? It props up industry. That was what Trump recently was talking about, right? How the military-industrial complex is good because it gives people jobs. I'm like, wait a minute. The Republicans and the Democrats are the same here. Yeah. They're doing the same thing.
Republicans want jobs.
Yeah.
Democrats are like, okay, here's how you can have jobs. Our military needs to buy some stuff.
Tanks.
Yeah.
Unusable tanks.
Yes. But I kind of think that with what happened with the New Deal and the programs that were passed and put into effect, we kind of didn't really look at them on the grand scale on what was going to happen to them. They've kind of been abused. I would say even if you're a Democrat, you have to realize that, yes, these things have been abused. Social Security is a great example. It was only
I think it's
supposed
abused
to
by
be-
the government.
It's abused by the people as well. It's
Okay,
only
clarify.
supposed to be supplemental income.
Right, okay, right.
And so you have people who retire and haven't saved up any money. And this is nothing against them. I'm just saying this is what happens. You don't have any money saved. You retire.
I'm planning
you're
on
drawing.
dying.
You're drawing off of your Social Security, and that's not enough today to get you through anything. Or, and then granted, we live longer now. Or the government then ends up being, okay, well, we just have to pay out this much money, and oh my goodness, look at that money that's left over. What should we do with it? And our government spends that money. Okay, so now there's no money left. That money could have been put back into whatever
Social Security.
to be there for the next time.
That's an idea.
Yeah, I mean, put it back into the Social Security program.
Right.
Put it into a stable, slow growth market or something. I don't care, you know. What
Yeah.
I don't necessarily care what you do with it. But you don't spend it. You don't spend the money.
Right.
Nothing's gonna pump that bank back up. That's an abuse of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's there's been other abuses, but we've become numb to the fact that our government has been doing that. We've just, and part of ignorance, especially now. We have no
like
idea.
I was just illustrating earlier of my own ignorance just about my own state.
Well, government it's always been like that. Well, it's, for us millennials, yeah, it has always been like that.
I don't know. I think it's always been like that even before millennials.
Well, I'm just saying, for us millennials, you and me.
Oh, right.
It's always been
yeah.
like that.
Yeah. Right. I mean, we grew up
So you have you
during the Iraq wars.
So what do you do? What are we supposed to do?
Focus local.
Okay.
That's the only way you're gonna change. Has to come from the bottom up. I really believe that. I don't think that voting for Trump or voting for Hillary or voting for Bernie or voting for Johnson, Gary Johnson, I don't think that's going to cause the change that we want. Now, granted, this is a disaffected millennial specifically referencing hope and change that got us, what did it get us? More war, continued extraordinary extradition, continued bombing of brown people in the sand illegally, but you just move some numbers and some letters around and now all of a sudden magically it's legal. You know, and so that's and I realized I can't do anything about that. All of the choices for a presidential candidate, shit. Okay, wait, all right, let me back up then. What about my congressman? How about I hold these fuckers accountable? How about I hold Fortenberry accountable? You know? For his warmongering.
Oh, no.
No, excuse me.
Not a warm.
War profiteering, excuse me.
There we are.
Different. It's different.
He might be a warmonger.
Yeah. that was hyperbole, obviously.
Yeah. I'm sure.
I mean, I vehemently disagree with his votes. That's not what I'm talking about.
Which votes?
Okay. Specifically, he voted for the invasion of Iraq.
Okay.
Correct?
Yes.
And his...
Ooh, I don't know. I don't know if he was elected in
his vote for...
Yeah, he was in
his vote for the Freedom Act.
I don't know if he was...
Freedom Act. I don't care if he voted for the war.
Yeah.
Freedom Act.
Yeah.
You fucking vote for the Freedom Act. You do not deserve to be my senator.
Well...
Period.
As a former Orthodox Christian, Sam, he's
a good Catholic, so we should vote for him.
He's a good Catholic boy, but he was against, after a long time thinking and switching his mind, he was against the red line and following through and bombing Syria.
Oh, right. Good for him.
I remember my nice
Your email
that
correspondence
I
with
did
him?
not- that I sent to him that was not very nice. Yeah. It's entertaining when you decide to write an email a few times to your congressman, realizing that you have a good friend that works for him.
Yeah.
And be like, yeah, I hope you're not the one that gets this.
The email.
Because you're just going to put it in the trash. If you see my name pop up, it goes in the trash.
There's no way.
But I did get a phone call back from his office. I didn't respond to it. I was at work and completely forgot about it when I got home.
weren't
And
able
called
to,
back.
yeah.
Like,
That's too bad.
And you're East Coast. I have to add an hour. So with their business hours, they're like,
yeah, and you have to
our
subtract
office
like 2
hours, whatever.
pineapples and a chicken, and
Yeah, plus daylight savings.
yeah, it's a
and-
pain in the ass.
Yeah. I get off work at 4:30 my time, which means it's like 8 o'clock there. Yeah. That is hyperbole, by the way.
I don't know.
We are not stupid.
Oh no, I am.
We do realize we have 5 time zones in the United States.
Shit.
Thanks for the semi-laugh, little smirk there. All right, so we realize that you need to go to your state level.
Yeah, and
So why
even
the
more
fuck
local
is everybody
level, right?
hung up on voting for president?
Yeah, distraction.
Why doesn't anybody bother to think about what happens 2 years after you vote for your president? Midterm elections decide everything.
Yes,
But everybody
because the laws that go in front of the president come from that Congress that's elected midterm, and not just midterm, but yeah. And that's what I realized is I fell into that trap of only focusing on the presidential election because that's what I'm supposed to focus on. And not focusing on who's my mayor, who's my senator, what are the laws that are affecting Nebraska specifically. And then...
Well, I'll tell you what. TPP affects Nebraska.
The TPP? What's the TPP?
What's...
Trans-Pacific... No,
Partnership.
that's TPP.
Yeah, TPP.
Oh, Trans-Pacific Partnership. That's the big trade deal.
Uh-huh.
That's like NAFTA on steroids, piss and vinegar or something, right?
Yeah. I mean, I guess it would be like that. We can compare it to that. But that affects Nebraska. We are projected to make a shit ton of money. If a few $1 billion is a shit ton of money. When it comes to
It is in Nebraska. A few $1 billion in Nebraska is a lot of money.
Yeah. Well, and it's all ad based.
Right. Yeah, which is just another big business.
So
It's not
it may be good for Nebraska in that sense. So is it good for the country?
financially. Maybe it's good for Nebraska, but are we?
Well, in
I don't
Right
even
now,
think
it's
agribusiness is good for Nebraska.
Right now,
really.
it's good for Nebraska.
Okay, short term.
It will,
Yeah, sure.
Is it good for Nebraska in 10, 15, 20 years?
Well, it's unsustainable.
Granted, I have no clue what's in TPP.
Nobody does.
So, if you think somehow just because it's going to open up your sales of beef or commodities
I guess, yeah.
to these countries, okay, but what's
What are the
other-
downsides?
Yeah, what's the other side of this?
Mm-hmm.
We don't know. We're never
No.
going to find out.
So I want my senator to oppose it until we know.
Yeah, but we're never going to know.
No.
It's illegal to know. How is it illegal to know what's in this bill? Or what's in, not this bill, but what's in this trade agreement?
Yeah.
Why can we elect these officials, on whatever level they are,
To represent
us,
right?
but we elect them and we expect them to go out into their office
And be accountable?
And be accountable.
Yeah.
And if you vote for something without reading it, if you vote for something without being able to read it, as is the case here, how can you consciously decide that, yeah, yay or no? Either way. I mean, if you don't know what's in it, you have to vote no.
Yeah, I've looked into Obama's soul. He seems like a good man. I'll vote for it.
Or you have the Farm Bureau here, who says, "Oh yeah, we should totally do this because we'll make money. We'll make $13 billion on number, in profit for this."
Right. Without looking at anything else.
Yeah. How much is it actually going to cost us?
That's a good point. I don't know.
Yeah. Are we going to be able to label our beef as coming from Nebraska or coming from the United States? Oh, no, you can't do that because the WTO already says you can't do that. So nobody knows the beef is coming from.
Right there. But pause. Right there. Local. I hate to sound like some, crunchy lib, but buy local. How about that? I don't know. It's an idea.
Yeah. Do we need trade agreements with these countries? Wait, so our president is in Vietnam right now? Mm-hmm. Or was in Vietnam? I'm not sure where he is currently at this time. He may be in Japan now, or maybe he was already in Japan. No,
he was in Japan, right? Because didn't he
was in Japan and
said he was so sorry that our soldier raped somebody.
His plane flew around the Sea of China specifically to not cross into disputed territory. Anyways.
Okay, whatever.
Yeah, Matt Lee showed a little map on his Twitter page.
Nice.
This is called doing this, not doing that. I don't know what it is.
Matt Lee, one of the few real journalists left in the world.
Matt Lee's kind of my hero. I would like to have a Matt Lee in Nebraska.
Mm-hmm.
But you're in Vietnam, and you just opened up more trade, not really agreements, but more trading. You've opened up the market more. You've kind of lessened the restrictions that we've had in place. Part of that was, I'm going to sell you some guns and tanks.
Meh.
Okay. It's okay for a communist country to buy guns and tanks and whatnot from us. But the American people shouldn't be buying guns and tanks. And again, what the fuck does Vietnam need with guns and tanks and whatever it is they're buying from us?
I don't know.
They're sure.
Just protect them from North Korea.
Yeah. They don't border North Korea.
But it's in the same area.
Who do they border?
Laos.
And China.
Right? And China, yeah. Cambodia. Right? Shit.
Consult the book of knowledge. Well, I can tell you right now.
China, for sure, yes.
That it's China. And they're sure as hell not going to go to war with China. I mean, China is not about to go to war with Vietnam.
Mm-hmm.
Vietnam borders... they border, fuck, what is this? I can't see this map.
Nah, my computer's not working. No big deal.
Apparently, they do. They border Cambodia, they border Laos.
Oh, I was right.
They, and Laos, Cambodia, and China.
Okay, yeah. See, watching Vietnam movies when I was a kid pays off.
Yeah. All I know about Laos is that, the really annoying neighbor from
Laotian?
From King of Hills. Not King of the Hill?
No, he's Korean.
No, he's Laotian.
He's Laotian, you're right. Yeah.
That's all I know about Laos, really.
That's awesome.
But
King of the Hill.
So yeah, you go there, you go to Vietnam and you fluff them.
I guess.
Which is his job. His job is to fluff.
Okay, yeah.
The president's job is to fluff.
I'd go with that. To fluff and to kill people.
Is to fluff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's my issue with if you vote to our conscience, what does that mean?
Conscientiously?
Yeah, if you vote conscientiously, what does that mean?
Based on your own moral compass.
Yeah, I'm not asking you like a rhetorical.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm asking you what does that mean? So we'll take the presidential election.
Okay.
If I were to ask you right now, Sam, who are you voting for in the presidential election?
Currently, right now,
at this moment, if you had to mark a name down,
Bernie Sanders.
Bernie Sanders.
Yeah. Not for the reasons why people would assume.
If I had to, it would also be Bernie Sanders.
Okay.
I mean,
similar reasons.
If I wasn't able to write in somebody's name, if I had to mark down one of these candidates' names, who would it be?
Mm-hmm.
It would be Bernie Sanders.
Right.
Probably for the same reason.
Okay. My reasons are fairly simple.
Our reasons probably match Jennifer Briney's.
I don't remember what.
Anyways.
Oh yeah. Actually, my initial reasoning for voting for Bernie is that I believe he would get very little done. So that's it. Yes, that's my initial reason. And then the more I look at it,
but you know what happened?
He would be the least likely.
He gets nothing done and gets blamed on Congress for being a do nothing Congress,
which would be great.
What's wrong with the do nothing Congress?
Then Bernie Sanders seems, his track record for voting when it comes to foreign aggression, which is the purview of the president, not declaring war, but conducting war, as in the powers that have been delegated to the president now via the Patriot Act and the Freedom Acts.
And continuing...
The continuing resolution, right.
Yeah.
Continuing authorization for the use of force, right?
Yeah.
Which basically means the president can kill anybody. Anywhere. Just let that sink in for a second. That's not something I want a president to have.
Did the ISIS one pass?
I don't know.
I don't remember if the ISIS one passed. Because that like completely... like ups the one we already have.
You're right, but I don't think it did. Okay.
I
don't think it. It probably because there weren't enough dingleberries in it, for individual congressmen.
So what this means for you listeners who don't know what we're talking about?
Yeah.
When right after 9/11, there was a 60-word sentence.
What is it called? Is it the 66 words or something like crazy like that? Yeah.
It's
I can't remember.
60-some words that basically gave the president the power to use military force on any country who harbored the terrorist who attacked us on 9/11 or...
Let's put it this way.
We'll
put it in the show notes.
Organization that might come to do that.
Right.
And the Syria one.
That's why they linked it
not
to
the serious one. The ISIS one.
Yes.
Would say, I think they strike out a few words.
Okay.
That basically, what it does is it leaves it. There's no time frame in it. There's no area. The world. It could be anywhere in the world, which would include the United States.
This is not... No.
Yeah.
Everything not okay about this.
Yes.
Not okay. So, that's the other main reason I would vote for Bernie is, judging from his extensive track record, he does not appear to be a person that would use those powers, which shouldn't be there in the fucking first place, mind you. He does not appear to be a person that would use those powers,
by the way,
inappropriately.
We used to have a war secretary.
Mm-hmm. Yes, right.
You had the president of... This is the Continental Congress period. So you had the president of the Continental Congress. And you had a war secretary. Your president was around for like 1 year. And a lot of us, they resigned. And they were only like really holding the title during like the sessions, which were very short originally, and they got longer, or nothing got done, and they got pissy with one another, so they resigned. So you have 12 earlier presidents of the United States, by the way.
Oh, right, yeah.
That people like to were they important? Do they have any real special place in history? Yes and no, but they were not the same person. We morphed these two positions into one and gave it to this elected official,
right?
Who the public's not even smart enough to elect.
Well, obviously.
Don't make me We have a natural college for a reason. We have superdelegates for a reason. Again, the same reason.
Yeah, to keep the dummies from voting in people that we don't want.
Yeah. I did not know that those votes were taken a year ago.
Yes.
That was very entertaining.
Okay, let's back up and clarify. So the super delegates are all going to Hillary, right? So Bernie's lost. Back up. The super delegates are not pledged. They don't vote. Well, they might be pledged. I don't know.
Just look at Monday's Congressional Dish.
There you go.
Episode 126.
Yes, please listen to it. It's excellent.
You don't even necessarily need to listen to Jennifer Brady talk about her opinions on things.
No.
Just listen to the facts that she gives.
Yeah.
Specifically in this case regarding...
So if you're a fan of Trump, listen to it. If you're a Bernie fan, listen to it. If you're a Hillary fan, listen to it.
These are facts.
It's excellent. It's excellent, and it reminds you why you need to be involved. Holy shit, here we are doing the same fucking thing that I was bitching about earlier. We're focusing on the presidential aspects.
Well, because you didn't want to do the state stuff now.
Do you know what I'm saying?
But you didn't want to do state stuff.
I didn't want to do state stuff? What?
You wanted to save that for our state podcast.
Oh, right. I was simply saying that to illustrate my vigilance.
Yes.
Pulling my leg, and I missed it.
By all means, we can go back to state stuff now. We can prime it up. That's fine.
I think we said our piece about that. I think that's extremely
We can go back to Civil War. Except I don't know what you're talking about.
Wait. Oh, the movie Civil War? Not the President Lincoln Civil War.
No.
I'm going to steal another one of Jared's cigarettes.
Yeah, you're fine. I'll watch the movie.
It's really worth watching. And first of all, it's just fun from a film standpoint.
Is it theater still?
I believe it is.
Right.
It's fun from a film standpoint. It's fun from a comic book standpoint. It's very enjoyable. Ant-Man makes an appearance, a big appearance.
I like the other two.
Which ones did you watch?
Oh,
Captain America.
Yeah.
I was surprised. I actually really in the film, I was really rooting for Captain America because I don't sound like it, people, but I'm very much against shitty oversight.
Oh yeah.
Agenda-laden regulation. That agenda that is
again, you already
counter to the benefit of the public.
Well, remember that consensus say Smith month effective.
Yes, consensus say.
Consensus say Smith month effective.
Look up Smith month. That's important. That's a good one. We should probably put that in the notes too.
Yeah.
Huh?
Well, here's the yeah.
So Caroline's really getting her music off the ground.
I see that.
Pretty stoked about that. It's a lot of fun. I've been doing all the background stuff. Like, I've been recording her, and then I've been... My wife's a musician, sorry. Should clarify that. So I've been recording her, and it's really fascinating once you broaden your perspective from just, I gotta get a recording contract, and then I'll get quasi-famous in the folk world.
You'll be famous and have no money.
Right, because the recording industry and the Illuminati take it all, right? So once you broaden your mind and you look at this sort of open water, open sea idea, where there's no competition, a new market, we've really found out that there's so much local music market, a market for local music, if you're willing to just put the time in.
That's what Here in Nebraska is all about.
Yeah. She's actually looking at getting onto Thunder on the Plains.
Nice.
Yeah, we have a friend that had put her in contact with Susan, I think, of these Jiggy Shoes, the host of Thunder on the Plains on KZUM. KZUM is an excellent radio program, by the way, or radio station. It's our local station. Talk about local, you know? I mean, the more I think about it, the more I want to focus on my local life.
Well, I learned to be local when our friend Cowboy Paul, you know, was from a farm. And I bought beef from him.
Yeah.
And I remember going to his farm a lot, his parents' farm, and talking to his mom and doing some work. And his mom was responsible for she wasn't responsible. She was involved in getting a mobile processing unit up and going.
But processing
Beef.
Okay.
So as opposed to getting all your cattle
Mm-hmm.
and going and taking them all at one time, if you only had one that was ready, okay, so you'd get this truck that would come and it would do all the work in the back of this semi truck.
Yeah, just an abattoir right in the...
Yeah, you load it in, you take care of everything, you butcher it in there.
Cool.
Well, you don't think you'd butcher. I think you'd at least it'd be hanging. You'd put it in hanging. And then it would go off and go to another place to do the same thing again. But I remember when we bought beef from them, we bought a quarter beef, and that was really the first time we really, I mean, that's the epitome of buying local.
Buying from a
beef
farmer,
from
you
a
know?
farmer that
Yeah.
you know, whose farm you visited.
Right.
I mean, talk about
I mean, you
responsible.
actually pet the cow.
Yeah,
you,
pet the cow. I
You
fed
named
them.
it. Yeah.
I haven't named
and
them,
you
but-
stab it in there. Yeah.
I'd seen the cows. I've seen
Yeah,
how they
yeah.
were treated. I've helped herd them up. Hardly ever do we have to do that, but I
Right,
have.
right.
And that's the epitome of buying local, really.
Mm-hmm.
But then I remember going to Open Harvest.
Yeah.
The local co-op that's here, a local co-op, and realizing, oh my goodness, this jam, I want to buy it. It sounds so good. It's organic too, but it's from Italy.
Right.
Do I really want to buy a jam that's from Italy
Uh-huh.
that has to be shipped overseas?
Mm-hmm.
Did that do anything for me? Okay, I have organic jam.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I'm sure I can find that same organic jam if I really wanted organic from a farmer here,
Yeah.
or from, I guess not necessarily even a farmer, just anybody who goes and picks some berries and
Cans them.
cans them and goes down to the farmer's market and says,
Right.
"There you go."
Yeah.
Why would I spend the money?
Hmm?
Like, who does that benefit?
Yeah.
It doesn't benefit anybody here. It benefits the store.
Yeah. I
But
guess.
it doesn't.
Yeah.
It
yeah.
doesn't benefit anybody else. In the
So
basket.
your money is not circular.
Yeah.
It's exiting.
Yeah, that's the point behind, like, after Black Friday, was it Small Business Saturday or whatever it's called?
Yeah.
It's the whole point behind that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why are we sending our dollars to other states, or why are we, or to other
Or
countries?
overseas, or multinational corporations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that same principle very much applies to government. Like, if you're focused only on the national scene, you have no idea what's going to happen in your own state.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
At all, until something like really big comes up, like I guess in Nebraska, what's one of the really big things that's come up here? This year, I would say it was probably the fact that our unicameral passed a bill getting rid of the death penalty.
Right. Yeah.
That's the biggest thing that probably happened here.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that's caused us the most outrage
Hoopla.
from our governor
Cheering.
and attorney general. And,
Cheering from me. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
cheering from me as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're gonna miss that.
Yeah. Or the the next time marijuana comes up, some sort of hemp bill, cannabis bill.
This petition this year. Why do I know that? Oh, yeah, that's right.
No, it's because you got a friend.
You got a friend.
What's his name? Shit.
Mark? I'm not even... No, I'm not.
You're not gonna plug him?
I'm not gonna plug him.
He's a douchebag.
Yeah.
He's a douchebag. That's all I gotta say. Oh my god. And for the record, I'm extremely pro legalization of marijuana, recreational, medical, it's everything. I'm very libertarian when it comes to drugs in general. I think if you have legalized drug usage, I think if you legalized drugs, you'd probably get rid of the really bad ones. I don't think a bunch of people would be cooking meth if they could go out there and get some high-grade coke.
Yeah.
I just don't.
Well, I don't know. Here's the other downside to that.
But I don't know. That's not evidence-based. That's just opinion.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't have drugs from Mexico coming in, for example.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which would probably...
If Trump wants to deal with the fucking Mexican problem, maybe you should...
legalize drugs?
Legalize weed.
Weed, yeah.
I had a buddy that was a narc for a long time. He's a retired police officer now. And he said that the marijuana industry, specifically in Nebraska, is simply to fund the import of harder drugs. That's what the marijuana industry does.
Wow.
That's why he was against it. It was because it's all it is to fund
Why he was against
marijuana.
Oh, okay.
Legalization of marijuana, which didn't make any sense to me.
It doesn't make any sense.
Right.
If you get...
He's like, have you seen how bad marijuana is? I'm like...
That won't...
that would actually cure that problem, but...
That won't import drugs.
Yeah! Because they can't. So, anyway, yeah, it was interesting, but I would... I use that to illustrate the point that marijuana is tied to all these other drugs.
Yeah,
because it's illegal.
Oh, I thought it was because it was a gateway drug.
Well, yeah, naturally, yes, it's a gateway drug. I've never done anything harder than weed. Ever. Unless you count whiskey. Speaking of which.
Yes. Let's see, I remember being in 8th grade. Maybe it was 9th grade, and buying some hits of acid from somebody. They were fake.
They were fake?
They were fake.
It's like oregano or something, right? Yeah.
Yeah. But then, let's see. I smoked a lot of weed. I've done a lot of acid. I did meth for a week.
Ooh.
I like a week straight. It was just...
Yeah.
For a week, I did...
Tried it out
a couple days. Liked it a lot. It was fun.
You know, I
that
heard that meth was originally... And I need to actually verify this.
This is not what I've done.
Oh yeah, Jared's confessing.
Had a lot of fun with the meth. Wanted to get more meth. My dear, I don't have any. I'll give you some coke.
Oh.
You have coke.
And this is in your teen years?
I was 19.
19. Okay.
At this point.
Yeah.
And all right, I'll do some coke. Like the coke a lot. I've never done mushrooms.
Mm.
I've smoked mushrooms. Like my friend had mushrooms.
Because you eat the mushrooms.
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
I never ate mushrooms, but I've had put some on a bowl of weed.
Huh.
Made the weed taste like shit. And I never had any the fun effects from.
Didn't affect you.
I've done hash, and that was kind of that was boring as well.
Huh.
I did PCP inadvertently when I was 16.
Really?
Smoked some weed. Went to a friend's house. Smoked some weed. These friends were they should not have been friends with the 16-year-old. They were
right.
Going to a house, and there's people who are 16 up to 40.
Ooh.
And
that sounds like a recipe for disaster.
Oh, it was. The good thing about this is for me, is there was 2 blocks from where I lived with my parents. So I just walked over there and we'd
get high,
get stoned out of my ass, and walk back. But we sat down in the room, smoked a bunch of weed, and go, I can't feel my fucking legs. Oh shit, I gave you the wrong weed. Motherfuckers. Inadvertently did PCP.
This is why we need to legalize it.
Yeah.
Right here.
That right there. That's also why girls, specifically, when you go to a frat party, you don't drink their drinks.
Yeah.
You bring your own drink.
Yeah.
And you cover your drink. And you don't... If your cup has a marking on it, you don't drink it.
That's called rape culture.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if your hand gets a marking, it's just leave.
Yeah.
There have been times where I've contemplated being a college party vigilante.
That's also why I
like being that old dude that shows up
you
and like
should have a wet campus too. For the same
checks
reason.
it
You should
out.
have a wet campus. For the same reason.
Yeah, because if you think that the students at the University of Nebraska aren't getting loaded
My
all
cousin,
the time,
my cousins
you're an
have
idiot.
gone from being they are top family.
Oh.
Their dad was like chief in New Britain, Connecticut. They moved here at some point because this is where their mom lived. And they followed right along in the footsteps of law enforcement. And one of their first places to stop was being UNL police officers. And I remember them because I was still in high school. They're like 8 years older than I am. 8 plus. The two brothers are. And I remember being asked about gang activity because it was a gang that was associated with my high school.
Really?
They would go around and break into people's cars and steal shit on campus. And then I remember being told about go to a frat party. I'm like, I'm 16. I've never been to a frat party before. Thank God. They're like, yep, they'll put their beer up on the roof. They'll hide all the beer up on the roof, and we'll sit out on like the parking garage and be like, yeah, we see your beer. You've got beer on your roof.
We see your beer.
Yeah.
That's funny.
But if you have a wet campus where it's okay, you don't have this whole, we ought to be so secretive about it. For that matter, what do you expect when you put 18, 19, 20-year-old kids on a campus with 21 and 22-year-old kids? You're going to drink.
Yeah, and where all
Just
of their
'cause you're 16.
prefrontal cortex are underdeveloped.
Just because you're 16 doesn't mean you're not going to smoke. If you're hanging out with 18, 19-year-olds,
Yeah.
there's 18, 19-year-olds that are in high school, for example, they can smoke.
Yes.
They can buy cigarettes or any tobacco product that you want. If you hang out with those people that do smoke and do dip and chew or whatever, and you do too, they're just gonna buy that shit for you.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, I
I'm a high school dropout. What I'm saying is I illegally bought cigarettes at 16.
Yeah, I somehow waited
back in the day, I would buy it for my friends because they would sell it.
Smokes at 12.
Yeah,
I faked smoked for a couple weeks.
I genuinely started smoking at 18.
I started smoking at 18 as well.
You know when I started smoking?
18. I was like 2 days from being 18.
I took a CNA class.
Let me buy my cigarettes.
Yeah. I took a CNA class back in, I guess that would have been 2000 or 99. Shit. Anyways. And there were a lot of smokers in the CNA class. And I would go outside with them, and I'd bump cigarettes. And that's when I started smoking. I was thinking, you brought up psychedelics. I take Prozac for because I want to be part of MK Ultra.
There's a book you should read. It's called Prozac Nation. Don't watch the movie.
Oh yeah.
The book is good.
Yeah.
Movie bad.
Fuck, I don't care. Prozac saved my life. Saved my fucking life. So I'll talk about that some other time.
Who are you paid by?
I
know you worked in a Oh, there you go. You worked in a hospital.
I worked in a hospital.
You got hooked because of those really hot drug reps.
Yeah, definitely. Like, just their round bellies and their bald heads.
Hey, guess what?
Were just amazing.
I used to work in a pharmacy.
Oh, okay.
I know what it's like.
But I was thinking about some of the research that's coming out is extremely promising in treating depression, anxiety, all these different mental illnesses with psychedelics.
Yeah.
And the efficacy of psychedelics is astounding.
Well, the purpose of LSD, before we thought it was for mind control, LaHaye, right?
No, what was the guy's name? Yeah, anyways, go ahead.
Wasn't LaHaye?
No.
Dr. LaHaye?
No.
No. He created it as just a mind-altering experience.
Right.
And realized that, this makes people...
Leary. Timothy Leary.
Leary. Made people feel better.
Yeah.
That was what it was for.
Right.
The whole love, sex, and rock and roll, or whatever it was.
That's my favorite things. Sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
Sex, drugs,
yeah.
rock and roll. Love, sex, yeah. It was all about feeling better.
Yeah.
Granted, I mean, you're kind of replacing one thing with another, but we always replace one thing with another. It doesn't matter what it is.
I would think so. I mean, after leaving religion, I've certainly been seeking those aspects of religion that I love. Purpose, community, beauty.
Citizenship.
Citizenship.
Sorry. Residency.
We're a place to be domiciled.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you do. But specifically I would love to be able to do mushrooms or LSD twice a year and then take a hit of weed in the evening before I go to bed as treatment for my depression and anxiety. Instead of... I just think that...
It's funny because whenever I get out stoned in public,
Mm-hmm.
I was nothing but anxious.
Oh, really?
Not like good anxious. I was
Paranoid anxious?
paranoid. It gave me anxiety issues.
Being
in public, stoned in public gave me anxiety.
Yeah, but that's because don't you have you have a lot of social anxiety though, right?
Yeah, I do.
So do you think that just sort of heightened it?
Oh,
Maybe?
I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was a little bit more outgoing though, like high school age.
All right. Yeah.
But now, if I got stoned now, I would just go to bed. That's why I started smoking weed, because I stopped smoking weed and then started doing a lot of drugs and then doing weed. And I'm like, this is boring. I just want to sleep. And I realized, why am I wasting money on something to fall asleep? Why am I wasting good money?
Right. When I can have cocaine, keep me awake.
Yeah.
You're right.
Here's my $110 for a teener. Thank you very much. Yes, because Nebraska prices sucked at the time.
I think it's
even
still
when you're
really
dating
expensive. Your dealer. When you're dating your dealer. That's what I gotta do. I don't even find weed. I smoke it every once in a while when it falls in my lap. Although I would love to the positive effects of marijuana use after I smoke it, not the high. I like whiskey. For my buzz, I like whiskey. I actually don't care for the high of marijuana. It's okay. It's not bad. It's not bad, and I wouldn't mind experimenting.
But you like the effects of it.
But I like the after effects.
Yeah.
The after effects are fantastic. After I'm not high, that's what I enjoy. The day after is great, and I would like to do that more if that would be.
Yeah.
And
the problem with legalizing drugs is I think that there's a stigma. And not the stigma of using the drugs.
Uh-huh.
The stigma is what happens to people who use drugs.
Like it ruins their life, kind of thing, or
you know a tweaker when you see him.
Yeah, they're the person in the in the
The shop.
grocery store
Grocery
with
store.
the cart upside down,
Yeah.
fixing the wheels. Yeah.
You know a stoner when you see him.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you know a drunk when you see him.
Yeah.
I used to laugh and say, yeah, I'm a functional alcoholic. Used to laugh about that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I would drink every day of the week.
Mhm.
And it was
Heavy.
to excess.
Yeah.
And so what's to stop you from being a functional drug user?
Nothing.
Is there a problem with that? Because what's the difference between a functional drug user and a functional alcoholic?
Nothing.
Other than,
Except maybe you get in less car crashes.
there you go. And by legalizing drugs, there should still be repercussions.
Yes! I totally agree.
People like to leave that little bit out when they have the argument like, oh, well, this is going to happen. Yeah, that's illegal.
It's exactly right.
That's still going to be illegal.
And
you can't drive if you're impaired.
I am a fan of states with the consent of the citizenry through their representatives taxing certain things
Yeah.
for revenue that stays in the state.
Brings me back to our previous little tidbit
Uh-huh.
about the localized thing.
Yeah.
Is when I realized at some point that I was much more concerned about states' rights issues.
Mm-hmm.
That, okay, you're a libertarian, or you're a conservative, whatever. What does that do for you if you don't realize that your state's what matters?
Right.
Once I realized that states' rights matters more, then don't just leave that at the federal level. Okay, so the 10th Amendment, right?
Uh-huh.
We have all these 10th
Yep.
Amendment people,
Yep. Mhm.
Chris Ann Hall, who we mentioned last time.
Right.
10th Amendment people
Mhm.
nullify the shit because it violates the 10th Amendment. You're thinking on like the grand scale of like national level stuff that really does nothing for you. It means nothing because you're a peon in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
But why can't you be responsible then for like if you're all about states' rights, then give a shit about your fucking state
Yeah.
and pay attention to what's going on in your state.
You know, that's actually interesting because that's exactly what the latest, the last two, not to harp on the marijuana thing, I'm sorry, I keep going back to that.
That's fine.
I'm not.
I keep going back to politics, so hey.
Yeah. Not necessarily to harp on that, but I think it illustrates a good point. Washington and Colorado. I don't know a lot about Washington. Colorado's next door. So I'm for crying out loud, our governor, Prickett's, and some other guy tried to sue Colorado. So we know.
So did a bunch of other states.
Oh, did they really?
Yeah.
It's like, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I just knew that my state did that.
Yep.
Douchebag move. So, okay, fine, whatever.
Do you know
But-
why
but-
they sued Colorado?
You know I don't.
They
I don't.
sued
actually.
Colorado because it made it so that since they are a border state, it made it so that we were responsible for the trafficking of people going there and back. No, we were responsible for that. We were responsible for taking care of that. So because Colorado has legal weed, people could go there and buy weed, and once they cross state boundaries,
Right, which we don't have.
Dean, especially with Colorado, we have no interstate compacts.
No, because there's no river.
Except for
We don't have a compact, let alone a boundary,
Yeah.
a border. Go ahead, sorry.
So-
yeah.
because it's crossed state lines, we've decided that, that means it's an interstate issue. Which does mean it's a congressional
It's
issue.
a federal thing. Okay.
And a federal issue.
Uh-huh.
Only because it's crossed state lines and now it's legal here.
Okay.
Guess what? If you go to Iowa to gamble and you come back to the winnings,
Yes.
do you get stopped for that?
Did you get those winnings taken away?
Yeah.
Is it illegal to possess winnings?
You do have to claim them on your taxes.
Ooh. In our state.
Yeah.
In
Shit.
Your state return.
And they give you get like a printout.
Yeah,
They just
yeah.
hand it to you. How do I know this? Because my boss also does that as a side job. Yes, he does taxes during side job.
Oh,
During
cool.
the season. Yeah. But that's why we sued.
The weed thing.
Oklahoma sued. And
Look at Colorado. That's a prime example of a state issue, where the state said, the benefits of legalizing marijuana and regulating it, taxing it, bringing it above board outweigh the perceived cons of continuing this war on drugs. They legalized it. So far, it's looking pretty positive for them.
Well, we could also...
I don't know.
We could interview my sister.
Okay.
Who used to live there.
Mm-hmm.
Who can tell you some cons.
Okay.
Of what happened. But, yeah, I mean...
I'm sure there are cons. It's sort of like the free market medical system versus the socialized medical system.
Yeah. On a state level,
both of them are shit.
They've done a pretty good job of bringing the money. They've made a shit ton of money.
And you've encouraged an entire new industry for your state.
An entire new
I really like
and
that.
Guess what? If
That's
you don't
cool.
like weed, you don't have to go smoke it.
No!
These people that are buying it were probably already stoners.
They're probably from Nebraska anyway.
Yeah, but they were probably already stoners.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there have been a lot of people that tried marijuana. Now that...
But I'm sure there's a lot of...
okay. Yeah. That are like, it's not for me. Or, yeah. Right.
Just like alcohol, though.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right, so... California. How many times do you hear about California, just using this as an example, it happens everywhere, especially since we're talking about state rights issues. Raw milk.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? I'm a huge supporter of raw milk. In Nebraska...
Right, because you want negative population growth, right?
Yeah.
You want people to die.
I've done my research on...
You mean you've Googled shit?
No, I've done my research. I've talked to people. I beamed my stuff now.
You Bing now. Oh, who's paying you?
and I don't beam because it's a piece of shit.
It's a piece of shit.
And I do kind of hate Google right now. I'm a little mad at Google.
Oh, yeah, well, join the club.
And at the moment, because I downloaded Google Chrome for some reason, because I was pissed off at Safari for not letting me go to certain pages.
Oh.
I downloaded Google Chrome. I never use it. I still use Safari on my phone. But in emails, if you send me links, and I click on it, it automatically
opens up in Chrome?
Like, what the fuck is this? I don't want this. I like Chrome on computers. Don't like it on a phone.
I like Firefox, but...
Yeah.
Actually, I use Chrome on my computer, now that I think about it.
Yeah. But anyways,
so... Whoa.
So raw milk, right?
Yeah.
So I've done my beaning, my chroming,
You're Googling?
And my... I don't know any other internet searches at the moment.
He's listened to the Seed Man.
Yes.
I've never listened. What's his name again?
I don't know.
InfoWars or something?
Is it?
It's the InfoWars guy, right? Isn't it?
Oh, it's Alex Jones?
I think so. Isn't he the Seed Man?
Is he?
Fuck, I don't know.
I
don't listen. I don't ride
so late.
Yeah.
And No Agenda never did actually tell you during those special episodes, the 500 or the 700.1 or whatever they were.
The memes.
They never told you these certain things.
These random memes.
That they were supposed to tell you about.
I know.
Like,
I listened to both of those episodes and I'm like, this is nothing here.
It didn't help me. But, so if Alex Jones is the Seed Man, well, that explains a lot.
I think so.
But so the benefits of raw milk, I looked into it.
Yeah.
I knew which type of cow to get it from because there's different protein that's available.
Okay.
And I did this because my first kid that was born was milk soy protein intolerant. Mm-hmm. So we had to cut out all milk and soy from my wife's diet when she was nursing. Well, let's try some raw milk then and see what happens. Because supposedly, maybe it's just the protein, but milk, soy, protein intolerance.
Right.
So if only one cow has this random protein, or if that's the thought, let's try it. Okay. So we did. We went.
Seems like something you could test scientifically.
Yeah, and it's only available for sale for pet food on a farm. can't be sold in a store, but other places have legal raw milk.
Okay.
Okay, but what happens? The feds say, no, 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 no. And they go and they raid and dump out your milk.
At gunpoint.
At gunpoint.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem okay.
No.
That seems bad. It's also why I wasn't a big fan of like the National Animal Identification Act or whatever
What's that?
it was. It was, again, it's probably 6 years ago, where, again, WTO problems. But we wanted to, we wanted to tag all meat so we knew where it came from.
Okay.
And the test. So if one cow,
on the face of it, that doesn't sound terrible.
if you had one animal from your farm or neighboring farm that got sick,
Yeah.
what happened was
Kill everybody.
is you killed all the animals.
Yeah.
And it still happens now.
They still do that. Remember the avian flu?
Yeah.
All those Iowa chicken producers
All the chickens.
killed them all.
Don't even test them. Just kill them. You get paid for it.
Well,
But
there's
if you're
that,
a-
at least.
For avian flu, so okay, it doesn't take long to get a bird big, especially now
No.
in those type of farms.
No.
But if you're a mom and pop farmer, and you've got
Wait.
a few dozen cattle
Yeah.
take a lot of money to raise.
Right.
You get paid the price of a calf. You don't get paid the price of your yearly
Of your beef
or
that
your
you're
beef.
selling.
Yeah. So you get a yeah. So and they'll kill them all, kill all the animals. So you got like, let's just say 40 head,
Mm.
and you have one animal that may or may not have tested positive for anything. Doesn't matter. What
It just
is.
comes from this area, so therefore it's... Yeah.
Slaughter them all, get rid of it, and you get paid whatever the cost of a calf is. So you've bought a calf, or you've had
Yeah.
calves born.
Mm-hmm. So you spent money
Feed.
on feed and
Time,
you've given your time.
the fact that you were planning on selling it for,
Right, so you're banking on that, yeah.
and now you get that much, like, it's not less. You're like, okay, I broke negative money here and had to start all over. So remember, not everybody slaughters their cows in 8 months.
Right,
Or a year.
especially if you're grass feeding.
You
Right, I
do 18, 24 sometimes.
Yeah.
That's a lot of time. It's a time intensive project.
Yeah,
You lost a shit ton of money because of something.
because of a line of...
Because
of statute in
yeah.
a trade agreement.
And they've tried to pass this National Animal ID Act a lot.
Uh-huh.
And it's always failed. And there was a big push at the time for us.
Mm-hmm.
And it was it's a horrible thing. Horrible thing. And you would see, like, people were trying this in like the 30s and 40s. And you would see people like hiding their chickens in their silos.
Interesting.
Like cover them up with hay or whatnot.
Yeah.
Just in case some fucking inspector
Is
came
that
by.
freedom? Is that freedom? That's all I gotta say. Is that freedom? Is that freedom?
Well, I'll counter it. I'll play the devil's advocate here and counter
Okay.
it and say, social responsibility. It's why we have fun with our milk and why raw milk is bad. Social responsibility. You need to pasteurize your milk.
Yeah. You need to prevent hot dogs from being made of fingers. Child labor fingers.
But yeah, but if you work in a chicken plant, we need you to sit there and pee in your diaper, so you don't shut down the line.
Oh, seriously?
Oh yeah.
Is this from like a PETA video or something?
No, I don't know who did the video, but it's going around right now.
Ugh. And with that,
All right, I don't even know what we're doing. We went way off track here.
it was
So
great.
This
it was great.
is Jared Hall.
We went long too.
And this is Jared Hall,
Today's-
and this is...
Samuel Dank.
And again, a shout out to Agenda 31, No Agenda, and Jennifer Briney. And again, thank you, Jennifer Briney, for
Inspiration.
the inspiration.
Yeah.
And check us out on porchtalkpodcast.com.
All right. See y'all later.